So ngayon, magsagot tayo ng ilang problems regarding circle and the equation of the circle. Kaya tayo sa number 1. Number 1, we're asked to express each equation in center radius form and then determine the coordinates of the center and then the length of the radius. May dalawang ways para gawin yan. Yung first method, ipapakita sa A. Yung second method, ipapakita sa B. So, for the first method, in number 1A, we have 2x squared plus 2y squared minus 3x plus 4y equals negative 1. Now, for both methods, kailangan nakaayos muna siya in general form, which means yung right-hand side ay 0. So, to do that, we have to transpose this. So, therefore, we're going to have 2x squared plus 2y squared minus 3x plus 4y plus 1 equals 0. Ngayon na naka-general form na yung equation natin, then we can now use the two different methods to find the equation in center radius form, then determine the coordinates of the center and then the radius. Yung first method ay through algebraic method. Kung naaalala nyo, in the previous video, pinakita natin abstractly yung relationship between center radius and general form na it involves square of a binomial and perfect square trinomial. Ganon din dito. So the first method is using that method na using algebraic solution, emphasizing on square of binomial and perfect square trinomial. So first, combine or put together, magpagtabihin kumbaga yung magkaparehas na variables. We're going to have 2x squared minus 3x plus 2y squared plus 4y plus 1 equals 0. Now, kung kagaya nitong B, na yung A and C is equal to 1, walang masyadong problema. However, kagaya nito, 2 ito, and 2 yung coefficient, hindi 1 ang coefficient ng square terms, kailangan mag-factor out yun kasi mas madaling mag-perfect square trinomial and square binomial kapag ang coefficient ng square term ay 1. So, therefore, dahil ito ay 2, since this is 2, kailangan natin mag-factor out ng 2 dito. Factor out 2. At ganoon din dito, since this is 2, kailangan din natin mag-factor out ng 2. So, here, we're going to have 2 times x squared minus 3 halves x. Kasi pag pinactor out mo yung 2, you divide that. Dito naman, magiging 2 times y squared plus 2y plus 1 equals 0. Yan. So, ito ang kailangan nating kumpletuhin ng perfect square trinomial. And kung maaalala na ang ginagawa natin dito ay, you get the middle term, at kasama dapat yung negative, ilubad mo. Ayan. So, we get that's negative 3 halves divided by 2, then square. So in this case, we're going to have this would be equal to negative 3/4 squared, which would be equal to 9 over 16. So, ibig sabihin nun, we're now going to place plus 9 over 16 here. So, dito, tulong na natin ito kung baka. Ayan. So, we're going to have 2 times x squared minus 3 halves x plus 9 over 16. Ayan. Plus 2 times y squared plus 2y. So, dito, ganun din. Mas madali nga lang po kasi dito, it will become 2. So, positive 2 divided by 2 squared, which is equal to 1 squared, which is equal to 1. So, 1 squared. Yeah, 1 squared, which is equal to 1. So, plus 1. Ngayon, nagdagdag ka ng 9 over 16, nagdagdag ka ng 1. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan ito din madagdagan. Kailangan yun din ay madagdag dito sa kabilang side. Dito sa side mo, sa equal side. Kasi nagdagdag ka dito sa left side, magdadagdag ka sa right side. So, with that, this will now become, ang unang nyo isusulat, 9 over 16 po ba? Hindi. Yung 9 over 16 na yan ay dapat may times 2. Kasi, ito ay i-distribute naman talaga. So therefore, this should have been 2 times 9 over 16 plus, eto din, plus 2 times 1. Ayan. Pag sinimplify na natin to, ito ay gawin na natin square of a binomial. Square of a binomial natin to. Square of a binomial. Ito din, square of a binomial na natin to. Ito naman, nilagay natin yan dito sa kabilang side para makita natin na in general form yan. Pwede mo rin naman siya hindi pala pwede. Kailangan siya i-transpose pabalik kasi ang itsura ng ating center radius form ay x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. Walang kahit anong single term nakatabi yung h squared and y squared. So, ngayon, this would now become 2 times ito ay magiging x. Ito yung kukunin natin. So, this becomes x minus 3/4 squared plus 2 times ito naman yung kukunin natin ngayon. That becomes y plus 1 squared is equal to 9 over 8. That's 2 times 9 over 16 plus 2 minus 1. Ito na yung minus 1 na yun. So, therefore, we'll have 2 times x minus 3/4 squared plus 2 times y plus 1 squared is equal to, you have 9, 8 plus 2 minus 1 will be equal to 17 over 8. Ayan. Now, ulitin natin. Ang center radius form, ang itsura ng center radius form ay x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Walang coefficient dito. So, dapat ang gagawin, to remove that 2, we divide both sides by 2. Therefore, we're going to have x minus 3/4 squared plus y plus 1 squared is equal to 17 over 8 divided by 2, which is equal to 17 over 16. Ayan. So, ayun. This is now our equation in center radius form. Ayan yun. Ngayon, paano natin kukunin yung coordinates ng center at yung length ng radius? From the center radius form, we get the coordinates of the center is positive h. Ito naman ay positive k. Tapos ito, you get the square root. So, dito, x minus 3/4. X minus h, x minus 3/4. So, kunin mo lang to. So, therefore, the abscissa h is equal, color black. The abscissa h is equal to 3/4. Ito, y minus k equals 1. So, kung tutusin, ang lalabas dyan, that's negative k equals 1. So, k equals negative 1. Ayan. And then, yung ating radius, ito, this is r squared. R squared yan. So, r squared is equal to 17 over 16. If the square root, r will be equal to the square root of 17 over 4. Sige, pinarot mo yan. Therefore, the equation of, after natin yung given, ayan, ito, the equation of this 2x squared plus 2y squared minus 3x plus 4y equals negative 1 in center radius form would be x minus 3/4 squared plus y plus 1 squared is equal to 17 over 16. The coordinates of the center is at 3/4 negative 1 and the length of the radius is square root of 17 over 4 units. Ayan. Now, ilang notes lang. Actually, dito pa lang, pwede ka na mag-divide, mag-divide both sides by 2. So, another way, pag nag-divide ka both sides by 2, magiging x squared plus y squared minus 3 halves x plus 2y plus 1 half equals 0. Mas mapapadali ngayon yung process nito. Kasi dito automatically A and C equals 1. So yan yung first method. We have to use the algebraic process in solving para makuha yung center radius form, coordinates ng center, and then yung length ng radius. Doon tayo sa second method in B. So now in 1B, x squared plus y squared minus 6x plus 8y plus 9 equals 0. Ngayon, pwede naman na i-algebraic process natin yan kagaya ng ginawa sa 1a. Pero if you remember, in the previous video, we have formulas. Just to recall, the formula for the abscissa h of the center is negative d over 2a. The formula for the ordinate k of the center is negative d over 2a. And the formula for the radius r is equal to the square root of negative 4af plus d squared plus e squared all over 4a squared. So, the second method is to use the formula na dinerive na natin kanina. Just take note that the assignment of this is A, C, D, E, and F. So, to solve for the coordinates first, kunan natin yung coordinates at radius bago yung center radius form. So here, the abscissa of the center of this one would be, that's negative d. So negative of d is negative 6, that's negative of negative 6 over 2 times 1. K would be equal to negative e, so that's negative 8 over 2 times 1. So therefore, h will then be equal to 6 over 2, while k would be equal to negative 8 over 2. H would be equal to 3, and k would be equal to negative 4. Therefore, the coordinates of the center is at 3, negative 4. For the radius r, so we just need to substitute. So the radius r will be equal to the square root of negative 4 times 1 times f is 9 plus negative 6 squared plus 8 squared all over 4 times 1 squared, which is 8. So therefore, we're going to have the square root of negative 4 times 1 times 9, with negative 36, plus negative 6 squared is 36, plus 64 over 4. So therefore, this gets cancelled. We're going to get the square root of 64 over 4, which would be equal to 4. So therefore, the radius is equal to 4. With that in mind, since our center radius form is x minus h squared, so therefore, the center radius form would become x minus 3 squared, kasi x minus h squared, wala pa muna, plus it's y minus k, so y minus negative 4 squared is equal to 4 squared. Ayan. So therefore, the final center radius form is x minus 3 squared plus y plus 4 squared. Oops, y plus 4 squared equals 16. The coordinates of the center is at 3, negative 4, and the length of the radius is 4 units. So you have the option whether to use the first method, which is more of the algebraic solution, na makakapag-practice kayo ng algebra nyo. Or you can use the second method, which is more or less uses formula. It gives you a shorter time, a more efficient way of finding or solving the center radius form. Now, let's proceed with number 2. So, in number 2, we are asked to determine whether the equation represents a circle, a point, or a graph. So, if it's a circle, if there is a circle, bawa ganyan, there has to be a radius r. So, yan ang basis natin. Kapag point, bawa yan, point lang, walang radius yan. However, if it has no graph, that it means something different. Kasi even though a point exists, wala siyang, it's different that the point is there and there's no graph at all. Anong pinagkaiba? for this, if it's really a circle, the length of the radius should be greater than 0. If the length of the radius is equal to 0, then it's a point. Kasi the center exists, but the radius is equal to 0. But if r is less than 0, then there's no circle existing. So we can't just say it's a point. The radius doesn't exist. It's less than 0, so it cannot be. So let's try to determine anong klaseng graph, kung meron man, yun nasa 2a. Okay, so for 2a, we're asked to determine whether x squared plus y squared minus 4x minus 4y plus 9 equals 0 has or represents a circle, a point, or it doesn't have a graph. So we're focused on radius only. So let's find the length of the radius. I'm going to use the formula here kasi radius lang naman ang hinahanap. You can use algebraic means to find the radius, pero I'll just use the formula that the radius r is equal to the square root of negative 4af plus t squared plus e squared all over 4a squared. So ganun pa rin naman. This is a, c is a also, this is e, and then f. So therefore, the length of the radius supposed to be of this equation would be negative 4 times 1 times 9 plus negative 4 squared plus negative 4 squared all over 4 times 1 squared. So, we're going to have this is equal to negative 36, that's negative 4 times 9 times 1, plus 16 all over 4, which would be equal to negative 36 plus 16 plus 16 would be negative 4 over 4, which is equal to the square root of negative 1, which is an imaginary number. And walang imaginary number sa Cartesian group. So therefore, this one does not exist. It's less than 0 because it doesn't exist. Ito, mas malala to. It doesn't exist, hindi lang less than 0. So since it doesn't exist, it's imaginary. It doesn't exist. It does. Let's use the usual math for does not exist, D and E. Because it does not exist, therefore, this has no graph. Kasi hindi lang siya less than 0. Again, if the radius is greater than 0, it's a circle. If it's equal to 0, a point. If it's less than or worse, imaginary, it has no graph. Ngayon, dito tayo. One of the challenging parts in analytic geometry, if you might have noticed when we started in points and in lines, would be may given a problem, may given a certain conditions, geometric conditions, and you're asked to find equations. Ganon din sa circuit. Itong nandito, ipapakita ko lang, which is 3a, is actually a bit basic. Expect that in the activity part of our presentation, mas mahirap. Kaya siya nasa activity part so that you have more time for you to be able to study them. So, let's work with 3a. In 3a, we are told that the line segment joining A, 0, 0, and B, 6, 8, so the line segment AB is a diameter of the circle with A at 0, 0, and B at 6, 8. So, ano ba ang diameter? Sabi natin, in parts of the circle, a diameter that is usually the line segment. If you have a circle, the center, it's a line segment that passes through the center whose endpoints are on the circle. So, ito, diameter ito. Ito din, diameter din yan. So, if it passes through the center, ibig sabihin, kung tutusin, ito ay radius, ito din ay radius. So, equal to, equal yan, at equal yan. What does that mean? That means that the center is in the middle of the diameter. Or, in other words, the center is the midpoint of the diameter. Yan ang isang medyo challenging pagdating sa ganitong word problems kasi kayo ang mag-a-analyze kung saan nanggaling yung idea or fact yan. Kailangan, alam natin yan. Alam natin pa rin diameter. Kaya ngayon, we have another fact that the center is the midpoint of the diameter. Which would mean, if we want to find the equation of the circle, we need to find the center and the radius. Kasi yun naman ang madalas binibigay. So now, we know where the center is. Panahanap natin yung center, mahahanap naman na din natin yung radius. Although, pwede rin namang hindi gamitin yung center to find the radius kasi diameter ito. You can find the distance of this, then divide by 2. For now, let's look for the center. So, the center of this circle with these given conditions would be the midpoint use capital letter. This is called small letter. The midpoint of AB. Therefore, the coordinates of that would be that's 0 plus 6 over 2 and then 0 plus 8 over 2. Kung natatandaan pa natin ang midpoint formula. So with this now become 6 over 2 and 8 over 2 which will become 3/4. 3, 4 rather. So therefore, the center of this is at 3/4. Center ng circle na to ay nasa 3/4. Ngayon, if we're confident that this is correct, you can use this to connect to any point. Ito. Connect it to any point that distance is the radius. Para madali, I'll connect this one here. Although, ulitin ko, you can find the distance of this 2 then divide it by 2. Kasi diameter yan. But I'll stick with the fact that center to radius, yun ang gagamitin. Center to a point on the circle, that's your radius. So the radius now would be equal to the distance between AC. And that will be equal to the square root of 3 minus 0 squared plus 4 minus 0 squared, which would be equal to, and this will then be equal to, the square root of, that's 3 minus 0, that's 3 squared plus 4 minus 0, 4 squared. 9 plus 16 comes the square root of 25, which is equal to 5. So the radius equals 5. Therefore, the center is at 3/4, the radius is equal to 5, then the center radius form of the equation of this circle is x minus 3 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 5 squared, which is 25. Now, kasunod muna natin yun. So, x minus 3 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 25. But, if we're going to go back, ang kailangan natin ay equation of the circle in general form. Ang meron pa lang tayo ay center radius form. So we have to change this to general form rather. Paano yun? I-expand natin to. Once we expand this, tapos i-transpose natin yun, then we get it in general form. So, urong natin na naman. So let's expand. Expanding this becomes x squared minus 6x plus 9. Expanding this becomes plus, kasi plus lang din naman yan, y squared minus 8y plus 16. Tapos transpose natin, minus 25 equals 0. Ang arrangement ng general form ay ax squared plus ay squared minus dx plus dy plus f equals 0. So we're going to follow the same convention. So mauna muna to, x squared plus y squared. I-combine like terms na lang din if meron kailangan i-combine. Wala namang ka-like term ito, so that's minus 6x. Wala rin ka-like term ito, so minus 8y. 9 plus 16 minus 25. Yan ang may ka-like term. So 9 plus 16 minus 25 is actually equal to 0. So plus 0 din na sinusulat. Ayan. Therefore, the equation of the circle whose diameter has the endpoints 0, 0, and 0, 0, and 6, 8 is x squared plus y squared minus 6x minus 8y equals 0. Ayan. And actually, this problem is well on the easy side. Medyo madali ito. The trick here is for us to understand what are those terms na sinasabing diameter, tangent, and then center is here. You have to be able to analyze that kasi marami pang ibang klaseng conditions ibibigay at mas komplikado that you have to be able to analyze on your own.